Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The sound of laughter cut through the quiet cafe like glass cracking. I looked up from my untouched coffee and saw her, Lara, standing by the window, sunlight on her hair, surrounded by 3 of her friends. Her voice was soft but carried easily across the space. "It's time to move on," she said, laughing, brushing her hand through her curls as if she just said something harmless. But it wasn't harmless. Not when those words used to belong to me. Not when I had said them 2 months ago during our last fight, after discovering the late-night messages from her coworker, Evan. Messages that were innocent, according to her. Just work banter. Now, watching her smile like none of it mattered, surrounded by giggles, something inside me fractured and hardened all at once. I stood slowly, pushed back my chair and crossed the room. The sound of my footsteps made her friends turn first. Lara froze when she saw me. For a split second her eyes widened, the color draining from her face before she masked it with that same perfect smile she'd always used to hide behind. "Daniel," she said, pretending surprise, though I could see the flicker of discomfort. I smiled back. "Already did," I said, keeping my voice calm, measured, deliberate. Then I set the brown envelope on the table in front of her. "Just sign." The laughter stopped. The silence that followed was thick enough to drown in. She glanced at the envelope as if it might bite her. Her friends shifted uncomfortably, exchanging looks. I didn't move. I wanted her to feel the weight of that silence. I wanted her to feel something, anything, that matched the emptiness she had left me with. Her voice trembled slightly. "Daniel, can we not do this here?" "Why not? You seemed comfortable enough talking about moving on here." She swallowed, and her friends murmured awkward excuses before scattering toward the exit. Lara stood there, her confidence cracking with each breath. When we sat down again, she didn't touch the envelope. I noticed her hands, still the same hands that used to trace circles on my back when we lay awake whispering dreams. Now they trembled. "Divorce papers?" she asked softly. "Yeah," I said. "Already signed my part." She stared at them for a long moment. The cafe buzzed around us, machines hissing, cups clinking, but it all felt muted. My world had narrowed to her eyes and the words we weren't saying. "I didn't cheat," she whispered, not meeting my gaze. "Didn't you?" Her lip trembled. "I never slept with him." "Maybe not. But tell me, Lara, what do you call falling asleep on the phone with him every night? What do you call hiding messages, deleting photos, lying about where you were?" She closed her eyes. "It wasn't like that." It was exactly like that. The hurt in her expression made me want to stop. Even now, even after everything, part of me still wanted to protect her. That was the cruelest part of betrayal. It didn't kill love instantly. It just poisoned it slowly until you couldn't tell where the ache ended and the resentment began. She finally spoke, voice barely audible. "You stopped talking to me long before Evan. You were distant. I felt invisible. He just listened." The words stung because they weren't lies. I had been distant. Work had consumed me, and the exhaustion had turned our home into a quiet battlefield of half-finished conversations and swallowed words. I leaned back. "So you replaced me?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to feel seen again." "Did you?" She looked away. "At first. Then I felt guilty every day. I wanted to tell you, but I knew you'd leave. You should have trusted that I might have stayed if you just told me the truth." She wiped her eyes quickly, trying to hide the tears that slipped free. "You think I didn't try? Every time I saw you come home with that tired look, I wanted to talk. But then you'd grab your laptop, pour another cup of coffee, and disappear into work. You made it easy to walk away." There it was, the twist of guilt I had been waiting for. The knife she always twisted so softly, making me wonder if I was to blame. Maybe I was, in part. Maybe betrayal doesn't happen all at once. Maybe it starts in the silence between 2 people who forget how to look at each other. Still, I didn't forgive her. I took a deep breath. "You could have fixed us, Lara. Instead, you found someone new while I was still trying to believe in us." She stared down at the papers, tears dropping onto them, darkening the ink slightly. Her hand trembled as she reached for the pen. "Daniel," she whispered, voice breaking. "I never wanted it to end like this." Neither did I. When she signed her name, it felt like the last note of a song I once loved but couldn't bear to hear anymore. I picked up the envelope and stood. Goodbye, Lara. She didn't answer. Her shoulders shook silently, and for a moment, I almost reached out to comfort her. But I stopped myself. That wasn't my place anymore. Outside, the sunlight felt colder. I walked down the street, clutching the envelope like proof of my freedom, though it felt more like loss. As I reached my car, I caught my reflection in the window. The face looking back at me didn't look triumphant or relieved. It looked tired, haunted. I thought about her words about invisibility, about the slow decay of love that neither of us noticed until it was too late. Maybe betrayal doesn't always wear the face of cruelty. Sometimes it just looks like two people who stop seeing each other clearly. I opened the door and got in, but before I could start the engine, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was a photo, Evan and Lara at a restaurant holding hands. The timestamp read last night. My stomach twisted. I stared at the image until it blurred. She had lied even now, even after the papers. I didn't reply. I just deleted the message, started the car and drove. For the first time in months, I didn't feel anger. Just an emptiness so deep it almost felt clean. As the city lights blurred past, I realized that betrayal doesn't end when you walk away. It lingers like smoke, filling the corners of your heart until all you can do is breathe it out and hope one day the air feels pure again. And maybe, in that quiet space between endings and beginnings, moving on isn't about forgiveness or revenge. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you lost while trying to love someone who forgot how to love you back.